welcome everyone. I am so excited to welcome Ali Bouchard, who is a health and body image coach for women. And she had posted something the other day on Facebook that caught my attention. And it was about pregnancy weight gain. And because she is currently pregnant. So welcome, Ali.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So how far along are you in your pregnancy right now?
I'm almost 28 weeks. I'll be 28 weeks in a couple of days.
Okay, so you're just right at the beginning of the third trimester. And
Yep.
let's just start our conversation with the topic of today, which is all around pregnancy weight gain, right? So basically, do you want to share the story a little bit that kind of went on with your OBGYN?
Yes, absolutely. So unfortunately, the post that you saw was me sharing a really unfortunate event with my OB where I had gone in for my monthly checkup, and I had gained 10 pounds in that 1 month. And she sat me down, and really the first thing that she started talking to me about was my weight gain. And over my entire pregnancy so far, I have gained 25 pounds. And because of what I do, I listen to my body very intently, and I'm extremely intuitive, and I understand that weight gain is natural, especially in pregnancy. And so this conversation really caught me off guard, because I haven't been, I hate to use the term binge eating, but I haven't been binge eating. I haven't been, I've been really careful with my nutrition intake, but I have been extra hungry, and I honor those things in my body, especially when pregnant. So I've been eating much more, and I've noticed the weight gain, but I felt it was a natural progression of pregnancy. And she basically told me that 25 to 30 pounds is the normal weight gain for pregnancy. And since I was already at 25 pounds and only at this time 26 weeks pregnant, that I needed to slow down. And it really left me feeling unsettled. I didn't feel trusted in her care anymore, because when I told her that I was just hungrier and that I wanted to eat for my sake and my baby's sake, she implied that I should ignore my hunger by telling me that she's hungry too, and she's not even pregnant. And that's just knowing what I do, and that's very damaging information to share with a patient. And it left me feeling very unsupported, and I ended up actually, unfortunately, tearful in the waiting room, wondering where to go next.
Well, Ali, I think that scenario, it happens way too often. And I just want to let's clear up something about weight gain during pregnancy, right? Like, this is in your wheelhouse. You understand the ins and outs, and also the psychology behind food, right? And so to have a medical professional tell a pregnant woman who's already, on an emotional roller coaster that they're gaining too much weight, when I'm going to be really clear with this, you are absolutely not gaining too much weight. And I want to make sure we really, really hit home with this, because I cannot stress the amount of women that I have worked with, both personally, like in person, as well as to do our online prenatal program, who are, who do end up gaining more than that. And 25 to 40 pounds is actually more. I have never heard 25 to 30. That's really low. That is really, really low. So 25 to 40 is kind of what I've always read in the more, quote, normal, but what is normal, right? So everyone's bodies are different. But I worked with so many women who, they stay active, they're eating healthy. Like you said, they're not overindulging in things, right? Where they're nourishing their body. They don't even have cravings, and they'll gain 40, 50, 60 pounds. And Annie Tinker, who's our prenatal coach, which we talked about this yesterday, so she gave me full permission. She's like, share my story. So she's she's very fit and very active, and she gained 65 pounds with her pregnancy. And for those of you that are inside the prenatal program and know her and have seen pictures of her, you'd be like, but when you see her when she was pregnant, she looks healthy. And I think that we have gotten away from that, and we get so fixated on the number on the scale, when the reality of it is that we need to be looking at the health of mom, the health of baby, and what is it you are feeding and nourishing your body with, because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. And can we talk about stress for a minute, Allie? Because
Yes,
I know
absolutely.
you know the implications of stress, and I am always trying to hit home, like, moms, we got to keep our stress low, especially when you're pregnant. So when you're told something like this by a physician or even something else, like, it can increase your stress, right? And we want to really be keeping our stress low. So I don't know, Allie, if you have anything to like add to that, because I know you and I can talk about this for a long time, but
Yes, 100%. And, because I have this background, I was able to discern what she said, but it doesn't mean that it changed, what happened to me. Like, I was still upset. I still went home crying to my husband, mainly because I just didn't feel supported. And that just adds to your stress as a woman going through pregnancy as well, especially me, who's a first-time mom. And this is very new territory, regardless of my background and understanding of the body. But stress plays such a major role in your health and in your psychology, and especially for moms that are so sensitive, their brain chemistry is so sensitive at this time. They need constant support, and anything that jumps them into stress could be even more detrimental to them than the weight gain would be.
yeah.
I mean, and that's really the bottom line. And that's my frustration with the healthcare system as it stands right now, is it's not as supportive in that arena for looking at the woman and the mother from a holistic standpoint, rather than just this number on the scale that they get so fixated on.
Yeah, and let's remind everyone too, like, in the medical world, physicians they spend, like, it's literally a couple hours. I've had them tell me, like, they don't learn nutrition, and they're definitely not learning holistic nutrition, which is very different. Like, not to get off on a side tangent here, but like, I initially started in dietetics when I was in college, and I dropped that really quickly because the psychology behind that was damaging. It was very unhealthy. And so I always loved nutrition. And so I then turned more into the holistic world and have continued to dive in that direction. It's a very different psychology behind the nutrition when we're thinking calories in and calories out, which we know from a holistic perspective doesn't work.
Right.
And we need to be looking at the quality of food we're eating. And so when we have comments like this, because this happens, this is so common. Like, this is so common. And so many healthy women will gain 40, 50, 60 pounds. But here's the deal, ladies, you will lose it. You are doing things right. You are nourishing your body. You are working to keep your stress low. You are doing healthy things for your body. You're staying active. And you don't have to be crazy active to be healthy, right? Like, Allie, what are you doing right now to like stay active and keep moving?
Right now, I'm just doing your program, Erica.
Okay.
Like, that's really all I'm doing right now, but it's all I can manage. Like, I'm tired more so than usual. I know I've just gone through the second trimester, which is the wonderful trimester where everything starts to feel a little normal again. And
Was it for you though?
I mean, it was, but my sleep was impacted, so therefore my energy is still impacted. And so I can only do so much, and I'm very conscious. So the most I do is the programs or the days of your program that I can get to, and then some walking. And I'm really comfortable with that. I'm doing everything that I can, but I know, because, and you've mentioned before on other podcasts, and and things of this nature is that stress can be exercise at the same time. Like too much exercise can put an unneeded stress on your body. So
Yes.
needing to listen to that and know what your limitations are just as important. And this is the risk that we get into when we focus so much on weight, especially for women in sensitive times, is that you can really do damage to your body because you're focusing on trying to keep that weight down when really your body needs to chill for a little bit and do
And
what
it
it needs
needs
to
the
do.
weights. And it
Yes, it
needs the
needs
weight
it.
gain. Yeah, because here's the thing. Like, so Allie, like I'm sure you went through a growth spurt this last
Yes,
month,
that's
right?
exactly what it was.
Baby grew so much, and it's like
Yep,
you need that, and it's very
yep.
normal and it's very okay, and you're probably going to gain another 10, 15 pounds. And I
Mm-hmm.
see it all the time. Healthy women are much more on they're going to be in that higher end of weight gain, and that's okay. Like that is okay. Like we want to give you all listening today, like permission. It's not permission to go eat whatever you want. It's permission to allow your body to gain the weight that baby needs, right?
Exactly.
Is what
Mm-hmm.
it comes down to, and it's nourishing your body. Okay, I want to bring up this topic. Annie brought this up yesterday, and I hadn't heard of it. I think probably because, like, again, my youngest is 8, so I haven't been pregnant in a while, and I'm not in hearing all of the pregnancy crazy stuff that's going on. And there's this whole topic about it's called belly-only pregnancy. And I asked you, Allie, and you're like, kind of heard of it. So it's awful. First off, I'm going to say that because the mindset behind it is again, it's detrimental. It's going to be adding stress
Mm-hmm.
because it's really all about like women just being so fixated on only gaining weight in your belly. And while some women, that may be mostly where obviously you can tell they get pregnant. Like, okay, like we just talk about this for a second, like gaining weight in your belly. You are growing a baby. It's not even about gaining weight in your belly. It's because you are growing a human being inside your belly. It's going to get bigger. Like I hate to break it to
Mm-hmm.
anybody, it's going to get bigger. And your hips are going to widen because last I checked, you cannot get a baby out of your vagina unless your hips are willing to open and expand. Your rib cage is going to widen. Like things have to shift. And I know I've talked about this before, but if we can really shift and reframe our mindset around pregnancy and look at it, which again, I feel like I'm speaking to the choir because I know most of you listening are like, yeah, I'm totally on board. I hear you. But I know there's some that need to hear this a little bit deeper and be reminded, right? Is that
Mm-hmm.
it's our hips spread for a reason. So instead of fighting our body, instead of fighting the hips spreading and fighting the weight gain and the fatigue and whatever that is coming up with in that pregnancy, like really embracing what's going on in that moment, in
Mm-hmm.
that day, in this period of life, because this is what our bodies are so amazing for, that we can create a child and birth a child, whether we birth vaginally or through a cesarean, it doesn't matter. But when we can work with our body, and I've really been teaching more of this within like expand through the pelvis, right? When I teach like the push push, which
Mm-hmm.
Allie, you'll be getting into, and working on releasing not only in the pelvic floor but through the hips. And I'll get women say, but wait, I don't want my hips to expand and widen anymore. It's like, well, they're going to widen anyway. So if we work with these changes with our body, it does a couple things. One really big thing it does is it really does help with stress, because now all of a sudden
Mm-hmm.
you're like not so worried about trying to keep things tight. And tightness, ladies, is what really can contribute to more tearing of the perineum during vaginal delivery, diastasis, back pain, right? When we're really tight, right? That's why I teach a lot of fascial movement, and things like that. So when we can shift our perspective and really remind ourselves what our body is doing, and I hear this from a workout perspective too, like, oh, I'm just like, I'm doing everything I teach throughout the Noxa Fitness membership. Like, that's great. And that is enough, right? And you go for walks, and that's great. Because I think so many times we think, oh my gosh, we have to work out this hard and try to sustain this. But if it's stressing you out or it's making your body hurt, or you're RPing your pants or anything like that, then it's not worth it. Because here's the thing, pregnancy is really a short period of time. I know it can feel really long
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, especially when you're tired and all of that, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. Like there is going to become a day where then you can start to rehabilitate your body and your core and eventually get back to those other workouts. Right. So we
Mm-hmm.
have to kind of remind ourselves, because I hear this all the time from women, like they get really bummed, like, oh, I've had to stop walking, or not walking, I've had to stop running or whatever it might be. And I have to remind them, like, it really is a short period of time, because I mean, I have a 13, a 10, and an 8-year-old now. And I'm like, I don't know where the last like 13 years of my life went, but it's just like whoosh. It really does go so fast. So really trying to embrace each day, even when it's not that enjoyable, because maybe you don't feel good, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's a big part of the work that I do with a lot of my clients in general, is this idea of reconnecting and trusting your body through all of the changes that life gives us. Like pregnancy and postpartum is probably one of the biggest ones that women go through.
Absolutely.
And I love working with women prior to this stage in their life, because it kind of preps their mindset, preps their understanding of the changes and the acceptance of those changes, which is huge, because we're taught in this society to resist all of these changes. Because another thing I work with my clients on is appropriate aging, because there's this resistance to aging at the same time. It's
Yes.
like we as women are told that we cannot change. We have to be youthful and we have to be thin all the time. And that's just not what our bodies were made to do. And it has infiltrated the medical community. And now it's, people like us that are more holistic, and all these coaches and therapists and exercise physiologists and exercise trainers are really trying to dissect this to give women the support that they really need. And it is all about that support and loving and trusting your body through all of these changes that it takes.
Yes, absolutely. And this is where, like, whether it's kind of, Ali, what you said at the very beginning is, if you don't feel supported by your medical doctor, go find another one. And even if you're in your last trimester, I don't think it's ever too late to switch doctors. I always think it can be great to, have a birth doula to help you. If you feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's too late to switch doctors, look for a birth doula, which is what Coach Annie is. And so she's amazing within the membership, that you get to jump on calls and have her help coach you to have your plan for birth. And that's such a big thing, is to just have a plan. And I always say, like, have a B, C, and D, and E plan, right? We got to look at, we can't always want things to just go one way, because if they don't, we don't have a backup plan. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just from a mindset perspective, right? With pregnancy, with birth, with postpartum recovery. And when we can really be our best advocate for our health and our wellness. And that might mean, right, switching doctors, finding a doula or a midwife, or hiring a coach that can help you, because just having that support and having a different perspective to share with you, because so many times, like, life is all about perspective, really, at the end of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all have our own, like, path we've been on. A lot of us are really molded by our past, which is not a bad thing. It is what it is. But so many of us let it continue to make our decisions moving forward. But it doesn't have to. And Ali, I'm sure you do a lot of
Yes,
that with your
I
coaching
do.
as well.
Yes, dissecting our old beliefs is the main part of coaching, so we
Yeah.
can really move forward and create this life and this trust in our body that we are capable and we're empowered.
Absolutely. Well, Ali, do you have anything else you feel like, okay, we haven't talked about that we should hit on?
Well, I do just want to let any other mamas that are concerned about weight gain and how they're eating is to, if it's a new concept to listen to your body, that's okay. That's because, I call it outsourcing. We're so used to outsourcing this information to other people, where they give us diets, they give us food to eat. But what really you're capable of is listening to your intuition. And Erica mentioned that I was likely going through a growth spurt. The baby was going through a growth spurt that last month. And that's true, because literally the day after this doctor's appointment, my appetite changed completely. It's back to normal. It's slowed down a little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised if it picks back up again during another growth spurt during the
It
third
will.
trimester. But that's the ebb and flow of it all. And I think because of the messaging that we receive, we're so scared of our hunger. And that's the worst thing to be afraid of, because it's your survival and it's your source of energy. And it's the messaging that your body gives you that it needs a little more. And if you can do anything to break that construct down, that would be best.
Absolutely. And just to add to that with the listening to your body, like if we aren't nourishing our bodies, ladies, baby will take from your body whatever baby needs. So there's actually less concern for baby being malnourished and a lot more concern for mom being malnourished. And you know what they pull a lot out? They will pull a lot of fat out of your body, and it's going to come from your brain, which is what can lead to brain fog. It can definitely, it doesn't help with pregnancy and postpartum depression and things like that either. And it's why it's really, really important that we are eating really good quality and calorically dense foods. Like, don't be afraid to eat fat. I'm always big on taking, getting fish oil, putting olive oil on things, avocados, nuts, getting a variety of good, healthy fats. Because it's so important. And again, and I'm only going to say it because I still feel like I see it as people doing like the low fat, because they think, oh, well,
yeah,
but you really, ladies, during pregnancy and when you're nursing, eat lots of fat. I cannot stress it, like good quality fats, because your body needs it. It actually can help you to not feel so hungry, because sometimes your body just needs that higher calorie food. And just, like the more carbohydrates we eat, you want to eat obviously carbohydrates, right, during pregnancy. But if you're really just relying on that for a lot of your calories, because you think it's lower calorie kind of stuff, you're going to kind of be spinning yourself in circles, and your body's like, no, but that's not what I really need. I need that fat. So if you're craving it, you've got to eat it, because honestly, a lot of it is probably your brain is craving it. It's like, it's crazy. And there's research out there that links the two together with, and we don't talk a lot about, I did an interview, this was a long while back with, I can't remember her name, Dawn is her first name. And we talked about, she really does a lot of work with pregnancy depression, because we talk a lot about postpartum depression. I don't, but in society, we don't talk about pregnancy depression and how it can start. And I really believe that it can start from how we're nourishing our bodies. So if we're neglecting and not really listening to these signals, to these hunger signals, then that may be jeopardizing our health as mom. And for those of you that are first-time moms, like you need every ounce of energy and no brain fog that you can have. So because, it's a lot taking care of a newborn, and especially if you've got other kiddos. Like, I look back when my kids were little, and I was like, I remember my first very clear. And then after that, it gets a little blurrier, because even though I thought I was doing everything to nourish my body, thankfully I was doing everything I was doing, I would do things a little different now, probably even more extreme from eating fat and fish oils and things like that, because, and the phosphatidylcholine. Sarah Morgan and so Allie, if you haven't listened to that, we did a master class with her too, and she talked about that. And so she's really big on that phosphatidylcholine, because there's research out there that's showing how we become so depleted of that. So that's why it really, really is so important to learn some of this. And I know, Allie, you're on the same page as me, like, knowledge is power, ladies. So, taking it into your own hands and educating yourself, and don't hesitate to reach out to someone like myself or to Allie if you have questions. So many times we can send you in the right direction or
and cravings are a big signal too. I mean, I work because I work so heavily with body image. A lot of people that come to me are to break chronic dieting and weight cycling, also known as yo-yo dieting and things like that. And we really have to dive in to understand the cravings. And a lot of it is forgiving yourself for not being perfect. And what I mean by that is your body, yes, exactly everything that Erica is saying, you need fat, you're craving fat. If transitioning quickly to all the avocado, all the coconut oil is really intimidating right now, like, take it one step at a time. If you're craving a milkshake, like, just grant yourself the opportunity to have a milkshake. I know that sounds counterintuitive, and obviously working with me, we promote healthier options, but when your body still needs that fat, you're going to feel more satisfied when you do give it something other than just continuously going for these carbs that are not what it's asking for. So even if you can make these baby steps towards trusting your body and what it's craving as you learn, whether you're pregnant or, trying to get pregnant or postpartum, like, just experiment and trust that the knowledge is there and your body is sending you the right things, even if you haven't made the full leap to the 100% nutritional option that you're hoping for down the road.
Yeah, I love that you said that. And I think it's so important to really, and to not be hard on ourselves too, when we do eat something. Like if you ate something and you're like, now maybe you don't feel the best, or you're like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that. Like, as soon as you notice those thoughts coming up, just be like, it is what it is. And next time I'm going to try something different. And that, from a stress perspective, is huge, because when we beat ourselves up with what we feed ourselves, I'm like, if you want to go have a cupcake, go have a cupcake. You know what I mean? Like, just eat the darn thing. Yes. And then we're going to move forward with our life, right?
Well, because it's not so scary anymore. Yeah. The food isn't so scary. Like, we're so afraid of food. And it's like, we've got to stop being so afraid of our cravings, of the food that we desire, of food in general, the amount of food. Like, food is not the enemy. You have to, you're creating, well, no, it's not your fault. I believe diet culture has created this mindset for you, and we've just, because it's infiltrated so much of our health, it's really, really confusing right now. So having health promoting goals is unbelievable, and I support you, Erica supports you in achieving those, but we can't go from 0 to 100. Like, you've got to give yourself a little bit of grace. And as healthy as I am, I eat cupcakes and cookies and pizza and burgers as well. They're just a part of my diet. Nothing's off limits, but I focus on the healthier things that my body needs to thrive.
Yeah. And when you focus on the healthy stuff and you allow yourself wiggle room, that is kind of the best of the best, right?
Exactly.
And, of course, if you're dealing with allergies and things that have to be off limit, just stick
100%.
within those parameters. But, the interesting thing is, sometimes during pregnancy, your body actually has a lot less sensitivities to food. And there's actually a reason for that. Do you know the reason for that?
Don't. No.
So I learned this when I had a whole huge show with histamines in the body, and we want natural level. We have histamine in the body, like, it's a good thing, but we can have histamines that are too high. And it's funny because my husband would say to me, he was like, Erica, you always seem to be like your healthiest when you were pregnant. Well, I finally figured out why, because we have an enzyme. It's called a DAO enzyme that it increases by 500 times when we're pregnant. And it's a histamine. I'm probably kind of butchering explaining this, but basically, if someone wants to learn more, please just reach out and I will do my due diligence to put together a whole podcast to get the ins and outs of this. But basically, in a nutshell, if any women who have a lot of health issues, but you feel a lot healthier, you can tolerate more foods. So maybe you can eat gluten when you're pregnant. It doesn't seem to bother you, but otherwise you can't. Dairy, different things like that. It's because of this DAO enzyme that really, it increases 500 times in your body when you're pregnant. And it was a very interesting correlation. I was like, that's why,
Yeah.
because when I'm not pregnant, that's way less. And so I have to watch histamine stuff sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. So it's like the body during pregnancy, like these things that the body does in order to like actually protect the body so that you can nourish the body in all sorts of ways, and you're actually less likely to react to things. I'm not saying if you have like a nut allergy you should try eating nuts. I'm not saying that. I'm just, that's a
No.
little kind of rabbit hole that if anyone is interested, please reach out. We can go more into, or start doing a little of your own researching and digging into that. That's just one of those little
Mm-hmm.
random side notes.
Well, yeah, but it's good to note, because I think with the work that I do specifically, because I teach my clients intuitive eating, it's it can feel like we're promoting all the junk food or go against these, allergies that you have. And it's like, no.
No.
I'm promoting listening to your body. And sometimes to break the cycle of restriction, you have to give into those cravings just to know that the food isn't off limits anymore. But if you have known things that disturb your body, like that goes against the principles that we're trying to teach of listening to it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's all a part of it. And I think that's why people can get so confused about this particular approach. And that's why it's, in my opinion, it's great to have a coach walk you through it. But no, listening to your body requires listening to those allergies. And if anything upsets your little tummy, don't, avoid it. It's your body's telling you it's not good. It's not liking it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love the intuitive eating. I love what you're doing, Allie. I think it's great because
Mm-hmm.
I talk a lot about listening to your body and going
Yes.
deeper in that arena because our body really is speaking to us. We just have to choose to listen.
100%.
So, Allie, I would love for you to share. Like we've talked about a lot of little things
Mm-hmm.
today. So, what are like your top three like healthy tips that you would share with women? They don't have to, it could be for pregnancy or
Mm-hmm.
non-pregnancy, and it probably applies to both, but
Yeah. My top three healthy tips personally, because I have, I work with reconnecting women to themselves, um, is first and foremost, allow yourself to rest. And I know that sounds strange, but that is my number one tip, because as women, especially moms, we have this idea that we need to be super women. And we totally are, but you are allowed to take a break and rest and do what you need. You have a voice and it's important. And so I work a ton with women on helping them to accept rest, because it's extremely important for your body and it's extremely important for your mindset.
I love that. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. That
You're
is a good
welcome.
reminder for everyone. Absolutely. Okay, what's your number two?
My number two is to move in a way that's fun, because as much as we want to learn to reconnect, you have to be enjoying what you're doing. The body was made to move. And if exercise feels heavy or like punishment for you, then you're doing yourself a disservice. And finding a way to move that's enjoyable, that's even playful. I bring a lot of play into my work. Finding a way to move that's joyful and playful is going to allow you to reconnect in a way that is most beneficial. So you can actually find exercise to be not only challenging again, but in alignment with who you are, rather than, again, that outsourcing of what you should be doing. I talk about outsourcing all the time because it's good to be educated and have guidance, but we give up our power too much. So use what you learn from other people, and choose what feels good for your body to move, and just move. I mean, any movement is good. That's
Yes.
my number 2.
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more on all that. Okay, so what's your third one?
My number 3 is actually to connect. And I mean that in a social aspect. We work a lot on food, and so it might be surprising that none of my tips have to do with food. But I think it's because the connection that we have with our social network really feeds into our own health and how we perceive ourselves, and our stress management. And it has actually been shown in several studies that longevity is actually due to social connection. And that's like the number one like reason for people living the longest. So making sure that you're feeling connected can do wonders for you with your community, with your spouse and your children and your family, whomever. Just don't be afraid to connect to other people.
I love that. Thank you, Allie, so much for joining me today, sharing all of your tips and wisdom. Will you share with everyone where they can reach out to you to ask you questions, if maybe they're even interested in coaching with you, or anything else?
Absolutely. So my Instagram is Allie G. Bouchard. And I also have a Facebook group called Simple Health for Busy Women. So I do a little bit more private coaching in there and interaction as well. I do have a website, which is abhealthcoaching.com, but right now it is not up to date, but you're welcome to peruse if you would like, just knowing that I am working on updating that. But really, connecting with me through Instagram or Facebook is going to be the easiest way to reach me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Allie.
Thank you, Erica.